Hey, good morning YouTube. How you doing? Chris Rod, Sun City Lawn Care. Welcome to another video, and we're going to be chopping it down today. Our perennial rye overseeding has reached its height, its first mow cutting height time period. As you guys can see, I was doing a little testing with two different types of mowers, rotary and the reel. But you guys stay tuned. We're going to be talking about when you should cut your grass, when the first mow should be after an overseeding project, and why you want to do it at that certain time. And we're going to throw in a couple other tips and tricks in there to maintain it, and what you need to do come springtime. Let's take our little handy dandy roller here. Woo! That's a 4-inch mark right there. So where my finger points to. The grass is tall right now. So we're pushing almost 4 inches in some areas. We got grass blades definitely at 3. Let's go check out a little corner spot. Oop, dog peep. And we got some others at 4. Okay. Hey, all right. Well, as you guys can see, we just got through mowing, and I'm getting some H2O down right now. Okay, why? Because it's perennial ryegrass and it likes water. It likes a lot of water, actually. And I've backed off from my last video. We got into a routine watering cycle. We're doing 3 times a week. It was actually supposed to water earlier this morning, but I delayed the watering system, the program, so I can get a good cut in. Okay, so that's what today's video is about, really. We're talking about when to mow your ryegrass overseeding after you've already done the seeding project. So if you've been following along, you'll know that we overseeded my lawn back on September 19th. You know, it's now October 15th or 16th. So, you know, we're pretty much 4 weeks out. The grass, and I might be able to show you a picture here of the cut, or I talked about it earlier in the video. We were letting it grow until it got to the 3-inch mark, or 30 days before we initiated a mow. Now that's all going to depend, and everybody's got a different mowing preference, and it's all going to depend on how short you like to keep your grass, your perennial ryegrass, or what environmental conditions are going on in your area. Some of you guys up north, you may be even experience heavy rainfall and you just can't get out there and mow. But when to mow it, my rule of thumb is, and the one that we apply to most of our clients, is 3 inches or 30 days. That goes with our overseeding projects and my sod installations. Okay, so this grass, we actually had some areas where it looked really wavy because some spots were growing more than others. We were at 4 inches, 4.5 inches in some spots, and then over here we actually had some that was still at the 2.5, 3-inch mark. Either way, it was time to mow it. Simply because we're approaching that time frame. When to mow, it's always going to be different. Okay, rule of thumb, keep it simple: 3 inches or 30 days. Now the why. Okay, why do you guys want to start mowing your grass or your overseeding project? Well, you don't want it to get out of control. If you let it grow and grow and grow and grow, you're going to be susceptible to a couple issues, all right? One of those issues going into cooler temperatures, especially in the evening, is fungus, okay? And you don't want to get fungus in your brand new lawn that you just got through overseeding, so you want to start bringing that cut height down. Now, what I will add to that is if you guys are growing a tall fescue, for example, typically you're going to allow the tall fescue to just keep growing, okay? There's going to be a point in time where you stop cutting, but today we're talking about when to mow, why to mow. You want to start mowing on a frequent basis, okay? If you're trying to maintain that short perennial rye cut, you know, that 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, you're going to want to start mowing. The why, again, is you're going to want to start mowing every other day, or, you know, minimum 3 times a week. If you're a workaholic, you know, definitely get in at least once a week, twice if you can. I'm going to be mowing this probably 2 times a week. I know with our Bermuda lawn, we were cutting it, we started the season off with 3 times per week. And then I started to apply the plant growth regulator, which allowed me to back off to just once a week. Should have been twice, which I'll probably do next season. But here with the perennial rye, I'm going to be cutting it 2 times a week. I'm probably going to do like a midday work day week, and then I'll do my weekend cut like I did today. And all we're simply trying to do is maintain height, okay? Now, like I said earlier, we were approaching that 4-inch mark, okay? So what I'm going to be doing, and what I did today, is of course you want to apply the 1/3 rule. Never cut off more than 1/3 of the grass blade at a time, but I dropped it down to 2.5 inches today, okay? I was messing around with the real mower earlier, and I put it at its highest setting, okay? And I made 2 passes, one west and another back east, and then I dropped the mower deck to the same height, okay? So, you know, the top height of that real mower was 2.5 inches. So I left the rotary, the lawn boy, at the 2.5 inch mark, and I gave it a cut. So this next middle of the week here, midweek sometime, I'll go ahead and bring it down another 1/2 inch or maybe another full inch, because I personally am looking to maintain the ryegrass at a shorter level. We're gonna kind of look at it because it looks really great right now. It's nice, it's thick, it's lush. And I know the old lady, she likes it a little taller too, so we'll play around with it. But on the why part, why you should start mowing is because you're going into cooler temperatures. We're trying to avoid fungus, okay, and that comes with cooler temperatures. So protective measures, and if you were watching some of my other videos, 2 weeks ago we actually put down a fungicide application, okay? So I could leave it this tall and not have to worry about fungus issues, okay? But I'm also going to be reducing the cut height to avoid any additional further fungus issues. That's pretty much the why. So a couple notes to you know, mention here about perennial ryegrass or annual ryegrass is if you're growing this stuff as a cover crop, or you're just you know, doing your overseeding project in your Bermuda lawns, the most important thing that I could relay to you guys is that you have to remember that come springtime next season, this perennial ryegrass or annual ryegrass, you have to smoke it off. You have to kill it, okay? We use selective herbicides. You can use things like Cantana. I use methylphenolmethyl, which is an MSM. We spray out the ryegrass. What happens is that ryegrass will start to, once it's treated with a selective herbicide, it'll start to die back, okay? The herbicides start to inhibit the root growth and the development of the grass, okay? You have got to do that in your area before your Bermuda comes out of dormancy, okay? So my target time frame, and which we did last year, and I might be able to put, I think I'm gonna try to put a picture up here of my overseeding, my piss poor overseeding job last year. But I had 0 ryegrass residual or coming back to life once I applied my MSM. And the reason for that, and this is a topic at hand, is something that you have to do, okay? If you don't, you're gonna have competition with your ryegrass and your Bermuda grass, okay? So with that being said, the real question, the next question is, well, Chris, why do I even have to go through that process of killing off the ryegrass to allow the Bermuda to come out of dormancy, okay? we have to understand that ryegrass is a competing grass type with the Bermuda, okay? With Bermuda lawns, that could be a common, it could be a hybrid. The reason for that is rye is what is referred to as an allelopathic, okay, grass type. Allelopathic, okay, and what that stands for, it's actually a Greek word. Aleo is one another or together, and so the pathy is suffering, okay? So one another or mutual suffering, okay? And what is happening is with the ryegrass is that there's chemicals, there's hormones that it produces that will inhibit seed germination or root development from another plant type. Okay, so in that case, because it is an allelopathic grass type, it will inhibit the root development of your Bermuda lawn next season. When Bermuda starts to come out of dormancy, the rye will inhibit that process. So it's very important, and this applies to you guys that are buying Bermuda sod that has been overseeded with ryegrass. January, February comes along and you guys go ahead and get your lawn sodded with a Bermuda, a hybrid that's been overseeded with rye, and everything looks nice and dark and green. But understand this, you have to smoke, you have to kill, you have to apply a selective herbicide at the right time period to suppress the ryegrass so that it does not inhibit the root development of the existing Bermuda grass or sod. It has to be done. Otherwise, you're going to run into issues, okay? And if you've been following, YouTube channels, or if you've done this yourself, that is the reason why your Bermuda may not come out of dormancy, or you just got this great looking ryegrass and then it goes to crap in the heater or the later part of the springtime. Understand that, okay? So because it's an allelopathic grass type, the Bermuda is not going to come out of dormancy. You're going to have some trouble. So therefore, you've got to spray it. That's very important that we understand that. Back to the mowing, when to mow it. Once it's reached 3 inches of 30 days, why do you want to mow it? Primarily, you want to avoid fungus issues. Plus, you got to get out there and start mowing anyways. My goal, because I like having a green lawn all season long, was to overseed, not just for the aesthetics, my visuals, okay, but it gives me something to do during the winter, because in the downtime here in lawn care season, there's not a whole lot going on other than leaf cleanups and whatnot, but it gets me outside, it gets me into my garden, I get to use the equipment, and I get to enjoy being outdoors, being next to the pool, looking at my green grass. That's really the why, okay? Okay, on a side note, just about the perennial ryegrass, being that it's an allelopathic grass or plant, something that's really cool about that fact is that when you guys are overseeding your Bermuda lawns in the fall here in the South with a annual or perennial rye, there's an opportunity to get down pre-emergent, and then there's a before and after the overseeding process, whichever one you get to first. So, when we did our overseeding project, we didn't put down the pre-emergent back here. So I literally have to wait 60 days from the time that I overseeded to do my pre-emergent application. Now, sometimes if you don't get that pre-emergent in beforehand and you do it after the fact, after you've done your overseeding process and the time period passes by, you may already be in your first frost day or past your first frost or your first freeze, okay? And you might already have snow down on the ground. You cannot put down pre-emergent at that point in time because of wash off. Integrated pest control, you do not want to have any kind of wash off when it comes to herbicides, especially on your pre-emergent. Defeats the whole purpose of it. So allelopathic grass types like perennial rye acts as kind of a natural pre-emergent. It will inhibit the growth of weeds, okay, when you utilize it in a Bermuda lawn as a cover crop, because Bermuda is going to turn brown. It's going to go dormant, but we're going to be growing this perennial rye again because of the chemical advantage of this grass type. It will inhibit seed germination, root development, and not allow any kind of weeds, because it's going to be there. It's going to be growing. It's my winter crop, my cover crop, if you will. So I'm gonna monitor our temperatures. Hopefully, the weather. If we get snow, we get snow. If we don't, and I, can hopefully get to that hard frost before December, or if that hard frost comes after that first week of December, I still plan to put down my pre-emergent. But you guys, where you get a lot of snow, you may not want to do that. You may have to bypass that. But just remember, this ryegrass will act as a natural weed control as well, and that way it won't suppress weeds, but it will be to the point where it will inhibit any seed germination, because again, it's an allelopathic grass type or plant. Food for thought. How to maintain it, that was the last thing I was going to talk about. So as far as fertility goes, 2 weeks ago when we did the fungicide application, that video, I also talked about doing a fertilizer application. And what I went ahead and did was I applied a 700 from Greene County, and I did an RGS application, and I got my humic acid application into the soil system. We're constantly taking care of the soil system, okay? Making sure that those nutrients are readily available for the plant. One more note, next springtime when you need to kill this off, if you don't, and again, going back to the fact that it's an allelopathic grass type, that is the other thing that it inhibits. It inhibits the nutrient uptake from the Bermuda grass. So there's got to be a transition between the two grass types so that the Bermuda is allowed to develop the root system, not that it's dead or anything, but further root development, and so that it can start to take up the nutrients that you're going to be applying come springtime. Okay, so you don't want to miss that step. And then maintenance, as far as the fertility program, going back to what I was originally stating, was I know for a fact we're going to do one more fertilizer application. I typically do one last fall feeding, okay, and that's going to happen either Halloween weekend or November 1st, okay? That way the ryegrass has enough time period to uptake the nutrients, the fertilizer, and I'm probably going to continue with my 2100 because I've been doing an ammonium sulfate, and I might throw in some potassium in there to make sure we got good strong nutrients inside of the plant before our first frost here in El Paso, which is typically the third to first week of December, third week of November to first week of December. That time period every year is different because we're experiencing later and later summers, or longer summers, shorter winters, but every year is different. You never know, but that's my time period. So I get one more fertilizer application in, and that'll be it for the feeding of the grass. All I got to do after that is really just maintain cut height. So simple mowing. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below, and always don't forget, subscribe, like the channel, and let me know your thoughts.